Okay, this is the first installment of Photoshop tutorials. Let's talk about the first thing you should do when you bring in an image into Photoshop. There's 6 steps that you can do. Um, Not all 6 steps are necessary. Sometimes you take the perfect photo and you don't have to worry about these, but cropping your shot, removing some sensor dust, um, adjusting levels, boosting saturation, and convert the image to black and white. It always makes your photos look nice. And lastly, sharpen up your images. So we have this photo that's looks like it's a little bit underexposed, and so let's go through these steps to improve it. I normally work with the Wacom tablet, and I can get this done pretty quick. But to slow it down, I'm going to use my keyboard and touchpad and talk you through this. Yeah, get rid of the rulers there. All right, first up, let's crop the shot. So this lady doesn't want this photo with these 2 other people in it. She just wants her and her 4 dogs. So an easy way to do that is you can hit C on your keyboard for crop, or go into the toolbar and click on the crop icon. And then you can use these little boxes, sliders, to crop out the part of the image that you don't want. Or you can hit the Alt key and it'll move both sliders simultaneously. But I'm going to stick with just moving these individually so I can get the perfect shot. And you hit enter and it sets the photo. Simple, right? But sometimes even the most well-composed images need this, can benefit from cropping the image. But we're going to put the ladies back, and I'm going to show you how to remove them using the Content Aware tool. And this tool is phenomenal. I mean, when I was first introduced to this, a few years back, I was totally blown away by its capabilities. So we're going to click on the lasso tool here at the top. And I'm just going to quickly show you how this works. And then let's select this lady. We're going to use the lasso tool to select her and her shadow. Right? And you can kind of see the dancing ants around the lady showing you that she's selected. You go to Edit, Fill, and then you'll get this dialog box with these choices. Sometimes Content Aware is not selected. You'll get foreground, background color. What these will do is whatever foreground color you have selected, it will apply that to the entire foreground. We don't want that. We'll just click on Content Aware, click OK. And you can kind of see Content Aware did a pretty good job removing the lady from the photo. You will see that there are some artifacts on there that you don't want, but no worries. You can just leave her selected, click Edit again, Fill, Content Aware selected, click OK. And it's still having a little bit of trouble, but that's okay. I'm going to show you guys how to use the clone stamp tool to kind of fix that. So we're going to deselect the image, deselect that selection by clicking Command D or Control D on your PC. And then we're going to go to the Tools menu, and then we're going to click on the Clone Stamp tool. Clone Stamp tool, you're going to select an area right outside the area where it looks kind of funky on the water. You're going to click on that, and then you're going to lightly paint over the area. And then we're going to click on the beach here off to the left here, and then we're going to finish painting that in. And this takes a little bit of practice. Once you get really good at it, it won't take you long. You can kind of see it gives you a little hint, and the little brush tool there kind of shows you where you're going to place that, a copy of that. So there you go. It's pretty simple, right? We've got another lady over here. Let's select her with the lasso tool in the Tools menu. The quick key for this is L. Right? And then now once you have her selected, you can click on Edit, Fill, make sure Content Aware is selected, click OK. And here's a good example of what Content Aware does, right? Yeah, it'll try to figure out what part of the image to replace that with, and with the missing information, right? Okay, we can try it one more time by clicking Edit Fill to see if it does a little bit better job, but not really. So you just select Command D, deselect, Control D on your PC. And then you can do the clone stamp tool again. Use this to kind of help paint out that unwanted area. Funky. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes. Try to stick as close to the subject as you can that you want taken out. You want the content aware tool to use as much free information as it can to replace that with. So yeah, just stick as close as you can with that. And to give you a really, really good idea of what the clone stamp tool does is we're going to make a copy of this dog just for fun. And you can just hit Alt to select the dog's head here. And then you're going to paint him over to the right. It's a really, really powerful tool. You can hardly tell, right? For this image, you really don't have to worry too much about the flow. The flow setting I have set to 50%. The image is taken from a distance, so you're not really going to see too much detail. When we look at a close-up portrait here in a second, you want to reduce the flow to maybe like 10, 15%, and we'll get to that in a second. I'll explain that. So we're going to hit Command Z or Control Z to undo the dog. And if we step back, it's a pretty good result, right? We remove, we can charge people, 50, 100 bucks to do this type of post-processing. And you guys are all getting it for free. All right, so we cropped the shot, we removed some dust. Let's adjust the levels to this. So here at the bottom menu, we have our adjustments layer menu, and we're going to click on levels. And this is the first thing you should do when you bring in your photo into Photoshop. What you want to do is you want to increase the contrast by brightening up the highlights and darkening the shadows. It makes for a real dynamic photo. This is your histogram here, and the white is referencing your highlights. If I slide it over to the left, you can see how the image is getting lighter and you're seeing more detail. So a good rule is to go ahead and just bump it over to where you get this real steep incline in the histogram. That's what I usually generally follow. And for the dark area, you do the same. You bring it over until it's just hitting that. That's about right. And later on, when you're adjusting these and you're going into black and white, it's going to look kind of dull. You can always refer back to the levels layer, and you can play with that there at that point. Okay, let's boost up the saturation. That would be next on the list. So go back down to your adjustments layer, click on hue and saturation, and this is your saturation level. And if you bump it over to the left, you can see that the image is getting to a black and white state. And then if you bump it over to the right, you can get into this exaggerated color that's really garish, means that's unwanted. So if you want to add more color, a good rule to follow is to slide it over until it starts to look kind of funky, right about there. That looks weird. So just slowly pull it back until it's pleasing. And that's pretty good. Now let's convert this image to black and white. It's not normally an image you would convert to black and white, but let's just do it anyway, just to show the 6 steps. Go back down to the adjustment layer, and we're going to click on Channel Mixer. And it's the preset, the default presets are pretty good. You can click on monochrome, and it turns the image to black and white for you. I generally don't use the constant layer here to adjust black and whites. If you want to do that, to add more contrast, go back to your layer, levels layer here. And then you can turn off these layers all at once to kind of see what you're up to. Let's go ahead and group that now. And by deselecting it, That's the original image. This is the updated. Okay, so this image is taken from a distance, but another good rule is to sharpen the image. So let's go back down to the adjustments layer, click on sharpen. Oh, I'm sorry, not the adjustments layer. We're going to click on the background layer in the layers palette, and then we are going to make a copy of this by selecting Command A, and you see the dancing ants, right? And then you're going to make a copy, which is Command C or Control C for copy, and then Control V for paste. And there's a real simpler way of doing this. You can delete that layer, and you can pull this layer down to this copy icon, and it copies the background for you instantly. So we're going to convert this background image into a smart object. And what this does is that it allows you to apply filters without destroying the image, right? So we're going to go sharpen, smart sharpen. And since this image from the distance, when we zoom in on the dog here, you can kind of see it's kind of pixelated, but that's okay. And pulling over the amount slider to the right or the left, you can kind of see how the dog is becoming more defined. And if you pull over to the left, the dog appears blurry. So keeping that same state of mind, pull it over to where it looks kind of weird, and then you can just always pull it back to get the right amount of sharpen. Click OK. And by turning this layer, Smart Filter off and on, you can kind of see the adjustments. The water actually pops out. So it looks blurry, a little bit more sharpened. So yeah, these are just 6 photo editing steps every photographer should know. Basics about importing an image. So let's have a little fun here. Who's going to be my next victim? Okay. So let's go through these 6 steps real quick, and then we're going to use the Content Aware tool to help Chintan brush his hair. We're going to use the healing tool to get rid of any unwanted blemishes, cloning stamp, and then I want to make this background has a blurry background, but it's not as blurry as I'd like it to be, so we're going to add to that. Okay, so let's quickly, now that I've shown you the basics, let's quickly go through it. Click on the adjustment layer. We're going to, I'm sorry, let's crop this image first. Hitting C on your keyboard, or going into the Tools menu, click on Crop. Use the little sliders, bring it in. It's a good photo of Chintan. Hit Enter on your keyboard to set it. That's looking pretty good. All right, and we can zoom in, and we'll see if there's any. You can kind of see Chintan has gray hair, right? So Chintan's like, John, can you like make me look 5 years younger? I'm like, yeah, no problem, dude. So we're going to use the healing brush, spot healing tool. And then you can increase the size of the brushes 2 ways. You can use the left and the right bracket. And that smallens and enlarges your brushes. Or you can go to the tool menu here, and you can increase the hardness and softness and the size. All right, and with this tool you have 3 settings. You have Content Aware, which is my favorite. You guys know. Create Texture, which is, I have no idea what that's for. It's dumb. Proximity Match is pretty good. So Content Aware will use this. And this is really a no-brainer. You can just use the tool and just paint over the areas that you don't want. And it gets rid of the gray. It's pretty cool. See some dust in Chintan's hair. You can paint over that. Let me zoom in so you guys can see what I'm doing. And you can hit the Command plus and minus key to zoom in. So that's the healing tool. And then you can use that on his face as well. You see he has his mode here. Click on the healing tool here. Reduce the size of the brush. And you can just paint out his little moles around one tip. He has a little scar here. We'll get rid of that. Alright, pretty good. A little more here. And there. Alright, get rid of that. So, looks like he refused to brush his hair this morning, so we'll use the lasso tool, and when you use the content aware tool that I showed you guys earlier, and this works pretty well. You can select the area that you don't want to see, and answering your question, getting as close to the piece as you can. Cut that out. Go to Edit, Fill, make sure content aware is selected, click OK. Yeah, it does a pretty good job, right? And then if you really, really want to get sexy with it, get your clone tool, select an area next to the area that you want to duplicate. Hit Alt on your keyboard to select an area, and you can just paint this area out. And this is, Richard, what you and I were just talking about. Where do you set the settings, right? So generally for a photo like this, I'll keep it between 20–30%. If you do 100%, then it's like you want to slowly work it in, right? You want to paint it in slowly. You don't just want to like it be really harsh change. So that works pretty good. Backing out, hitting Command minus, and it's not a perfect job, but you guys kind of get the idea. Now this feature is kind of cool here. This is we're going to mask this image, and we're going to give this background a little bit more creamy state. So we're going to make a copy of it. So get the background layer, drag it down to copy. And then we're going to apply a mask. And I'll show you the benefits of this in a second. We'll click on Brush. And then on your keyboard, you can switch between foreground and background layers really quick by clicking the X key. You can see you're quickly changing between the two. And we're going to hide the background image so that when I'm making these changes, you can see what's going on. So let's quickly paint Chintan out. Like that. And by creating a mask, this makes the changes that you're making, it's non-destructive. So if you ever want to revert, you can just delete the mask, and then you'll have the original image. It's always important not to destroy the original image because you're always going to have changes. Now, do you see I just painted over his hand by accident? It's not what I want. So we're going to zoom in. And then we're going to change the foreground color back to white. And this is going to add that part of the image back. We can paint this in. Now when you're doing cutouts like this, you can spend a lot of time doing this. You can smallen the brush, zoom in, and then you can really, really take your time. Just change the foreground color back to black so that we can delete this. And then you can just sit down and take your time removing the background. And smallen the brush some more. And kind of speed this up a little bit. I'm not going to be so perfect with it. You can increase the size of the brush by hitting the right bracket and zoom out. And by increasing the size of the brush, you can remove more of the image quickly. reverse it, invert the colors, bring his hair back in, kind of correct some of your mistakes. Okay, so if I were to create a new layer, we'll call this color background, whatever. And move that layer below the masked image that we just created. You change the color of the background to red, blue, and hit Alt Enter. And that'll fill the background with the color, and you can see what I'm doing here. Tint them out. And then you can add different kinds of backgrounds. You can add them, a lake background, or if you want to put a different background setting of him sitting in his house, or it's really effective. So let's go ahead and delete this layer. We can bring this down to the trash. I should show you guys how to do that. Bring this layer down to the trash, and that'll get rid of it. And we're going to bring the background layer back in. So let's add a Gaussian blur filter to the background to help beef up the blurriness. And this little preview window will give you an idea of what we're doing here. Okay. So let's bump up the blur radius here to the point to where you see the difference in the background. So again, what we talked about, pull the slider over to where you think it's overdone, and then you can slowly bring it back. Click OK. And then by hiding the masked area, you can see the changes that we made. Oh, you can see how blurry it is. So, yeah, that's going to do it. Those are just simple tricks that you can use to help you get running, up and going with Photoshop. A lot of these tips you can use on a daily basis. I use these every day pretty much. So yeah, look at the video, refer back to that. I'll have these assets up on Slack for you to refer to, and that's it. Thank you very much. Oh, I do have a giveaway. So whoever can answer this question correctly, you guys actually see me with my drink bottle here, my juicer. Right, I get a lot of compliments on this, so whoever answers this question will get a brand new one. And this is going to go to the first person who raises their hand, not the first person who blurts it out. All right, so what is the name, this is kind of hard, of the Abraham Lincoln photo manipulation? Who is the body of the person that Abraham Lincoln's face was applied to? And I'll pull the image back up so you guys can see what I'm talking about. Are you all Googling over there? That's funny. Does anybody want to raise their hand for this answer? I got an easier one. I kind of figured I was going to throw you guys for a loop. All right, here's an easier one. Yeah. That was a good one. John Calhoun, but I'll give you an easy one. What was the name of the brother who encouraged Thomas Knoll to package up the Photoshop program and sell it? What's it? Mr. Knoll. Are these still too tough? I can give you. John Knoll. There you go. You got it. That's right. Yeah, I remember. I thought that'd be a little easy. All right. Where's my bag at? All right, guys. Thank you very much.
Devin, you sent that 15 minutes?